Some of the other big news this week, and the big news from Washington, was that this is the time of year when Congress and the administration try to roll out their budgets, the budgets in terms of the government spending and their priorities. And the Republicans, led in the House by Paul Ryan, the vice presidential nominee with Mitt Romney. Paul Ryan had a news conference this past week. He rolled out a budget that, like his previous budgets, would make cuts to entitlement programs, would make dramatic cuts to all sorts of spending programs, would essentially give tax breaks to some of the wealthiest in America, but essentially demand more in tax contributions from the middle class. Paul Ryan said that balancing the budget is the number one priority for the United States. Here's part of what he had to say when he rolled out his budget plan this week.
We believe that we owe the American people a balanced budget. And for the third straight year, we've delivered. In fact, we balanced this budget in just 10 years. This is a document, a plan that balances the budget in 10 years.
Again, Paul Ryan's main priority is balancing the budget. It's not stimulating the economy. It's not investing in infrastructure. It's not investing in education. According to Paul Ryan and people who believe like him, the greatest threat to our economic security is that the government is spending far more than it takes in. And so he wants to narrow that gap and achieve a balanced budget within 10 years. And he would take some pretty dramatic steps to get there. Yet he says that his budget is responsible and perhaps the beginning of a discussion with the White House. Listen.
This is not only a responsible, reasonable, balanced plan, it's also an invitation. This is an invitation to the President of the United States, to the Senate Democrats, to come together to fix these problems.
Is it really responsible? Is it really an invitation? Don't take my word for it. Let's go to the Center on Budget and Policy Priorities. This is what they said when they got a look at the Paul Ryan budget. And keep in mind, this is a nonpartisan budget analysis group, which is familiar with government spending and the priorities and how it all works together. They wrote, quote, "Is it courageous to propose tax cuts but not identify a single tax expenditure to rein in? Is it courageous to target your deepest cuts on the poorest Americans who vote in lower numbers and provide little in campaign contributions? Is it courageous to camouflage hundreds of billions in cuts for the poor and disadvantaged in broad budget categories without identifying the programmatic cuts so that analysts, journalists, and other policymakers cannot identify the specific cuts and assess their impacts?" Again, this is a nonpartisan organization ripping the Paul Ryan budget to shreds. Many economists have said that if you were running a corporation, running a business, and you proposed the kind of budget that Paul Ryan proposed, you would be fired.